you know that I work with assistants from all four corners of the planet. And when we're not in this COVID situation, I spend most of my life on a plane, travelling around talking to you all. But the question that you pose more often than not when you ask me is, what are the differences around the world? Or are all assistants the same and experiencing the same issues? I don't think there are huge differences, but I thought it was worth exploring. And so who better to approach than IMA, International Management Assistants, to ask whether I could speak to 4 of their country heads from very different parts of the world to discuss just that issue. So will you please join me in welcoming the country heads from Cyprus, from Denmark, from India, and from my home, Spain. Good afternoon, and thank you all so much for joining me. I'm really excited to be joined by the country heads of some of the countries represented by IMA, International Management Assistants. Wherever I go in the world, I am asked what the differences are in different parts of the world to the administrative professional role, and I thought that it was very definitely an area that I wanted to explore. So I thought I would pull together these assistants from very diversely different cultures from around the world to ask the questions that I know you want answered. But first, what I'm going to do is to get them to introduce themselves to you. And I'm going to start with the country head for Cyprus. Janet, will you please introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, Lucy. It's an absolute pleasure for me to be here today. I'm Janet Armenhagen. As you can see, I'm from Cyprus. I have been the chair of IMA Cyprus for almost 4 years now, a role that I greatly enjoy. In addition, I work in one of the leading telecommunication providers in Cyprus. I offer executive management support. I work alongside the executive team and mainly offer support to the chief executive officer of the company in close coordination with the CXO team.
Thank you, Janet. That's wonderful. I'm so pleased that you're with us. And now we're going to move on to Ulla from Denmark.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. Thank you for being here. I'm pleased to be a part of this panel discussion today. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Olaf, chairman of IMA Denmark, and I've been with IMA Denmark since 2014 and chairman since 2017. I've been a management assistant with the present company I'm with for close to 15 years. But my experience go like 27 years back. I would say that my overall role today is like more like a coordinator between the executive officers and our stakeholders. And during the pandemic, my role has also moved in the direction of project manager with a lot of different projects. Whereas before I had a lot of travel management. So it's been
one of the hazards of COVID, huh? That the role changed so much.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, I think.
Yes, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I'm going to move on now and get Ana Hueto to introduce herself, who is the country head for Spain.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, all my colleagues in the IMA board. I have been the IMA Spain chairman. I am now in the third term of my third term of office. It's been a pleasure to be on the board and a member of IMA for such many years, because I think that being a member of a network helps a lot to develop your profession. Now I'm the PA of the founder of a big group, the third worldwide group of online job boards, which is also nice to help people to find their love jobs and it's amazing to be in IMA in this group and this global network.
Thank you, Anna. And finally, our baby, our newest chair of the group that's about to launch any second now. And in fact, by the time this airs, it will have launched, won't it? Amanda Bagger, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy, for having me here. It is indeed very exciting. And we're going to, we just established ourselves in December. We registered IMA India and we launch on the 6th of March. So it is very exciting. And we have quite a few people joining us from around the world. And it is an experience which I don't think I'll ever forget. But saying that, I've been an executive assistant to the CEO for a company called Merit Software Services back in Chennai. So I've been here with the company for 8 years, and my total overall experience as an EA has been 9 years. And so I'm still learning. And as you said, during COVID, our roles have changed so much. And I'm sure we'll talk about it in a bit.
For definite. And I'm going to get into talking about the roles themselves. But actually, Anna, before we start, I know that you served at the highest level of IMA. You were on the executive board, weren't you? The executive committee. And so for those people out there that don't know what IMA is, could you just give us a brief introduction as to what it is and what it's meant to you in your career?
Yes, IMA is a global network of management support professionals, and the aim of the association is, of course, professional and personal development of our members. And it's important to belong to a global network, because now that we have a globalized business world, it is important to have contacts in so many countries that maybe with your work you have to contact, and it's really nice to be able to find someone that can help you in any country of the world. So I think that being a member of the board of either in a country or either in the global board, it's important because you develop a lot of experiences. I mean, you learn a lot. You learn leading positions. You learn how to make presentations. You learn a lot, and it's really important.
And how many countries are we now, Anna?
Wow, good question. I think that more than 20 already.
Around
20.
Yes. I think the last count, I think the membership was 20, but I think if you included the people who are as individuals joining as well, I think it was more like 30 probably.
Yeah.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. And of course, you have events in your own countries, but you also have events where we do meet internationally, and all the assistants from all the different countries all meet up. And that's always just so wonderful. And IMA was, in fact, the very first event that I ever went to in my role as a publisher. IMA in Luxembourg back in 2011 when I first launched the magazine, and we're coming up to 10 years celebration. So it's got a very special place in my heart. But can we go back then and just have a look? Janet, I want to start with you. Why did you join IMA in the first place?
Well, I must say, Lucy, that I had not heard about IMA, and at that time it was IPS. Yes. It was back in 1992. I was just promoted, and my executive, he told me that he was invited by the then national chairman to a luncheon, and the theme of the luncheon was managers meet secretaries. So it was a luncheon that the secretaries, at that time, they were called secretaries. They used to take their managers with them for lunch. And it was like a networking event when the managers met other secretaries, and they heard about the association and so on. So he was acquainted with the chair, and he was aware of the role of the association. So he very much encouraged me to look into the possibility of becoming a member. So following that, I attended an event that was organized for potential members. And well, when I went there and I heard about the association, and when I witnessed all that networking spirit, because there were also members present. So when I saw all that networking spirit and the friendship, it really made me decide on the spot. I registered, and since then, I'm a proud member of IMA.
Just wonderful. And Matthew, if you're watching that, make a note. It sounds like a great idea for an event to have the managers and the assistants both at the event so that they can all network with each other.
Yes. And something else, Lucy, it's the encouragement from the executives, because he was the one to encourage me. Maybe I would have heard later on about IPS, IMA, but it was he who encouraged me to look into it, to get interested. He said it's a great opportunity for you to do some networking, to make contacts with other peers. So this is also very good that executives encourage their assistants to become members of professional associations.
Definitely, because it's going to expand everything, you know, your way of looking at things, your knowledge, everything. Anna, what about for you? I mean, I have been coming, as I said, since 2011. You were there on that very first trip that I came, I remember.
Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. I started my membership, I think it was in 2010. And in 2011, I became association secretary. So it was just arrived and to the top. Now I think I was so brave because just arrived and taking a leading position. It was really hard, but it was an investment for me. I think that was really, there is a before and after my position there at the executive committee. It was fantastic, and I've done it. I mean, the other way around. Normally, someone in a leading position in a country becomes a member of the executive committee, but I did it the other way around. I started in the executive committee, and now I'm the chairman of the Spanish group.
Yes, and it's so wonderful. You have such a wealth of knowledge. Ulla, talk to me about your journey. How did you come to join IMA?
Well, it was not like Janet mentioned, it was not my boss who encouraged me, but I got all his support once I told him about it. I actually met the previous chairman of IMA Denmark at a fair in Copenhagen. And she told me all about this, that we were going to the hotels and venues, and you could get inspired. And that's what I thought in the first place was the most exciting thing. But now looking back, it's definitely the personal and professional development that I see as the most important part why I joined IMA.
Yeah. And I think so often, because it's a role whereby we're quite siloed, it's really important to meet other people that are doing the same job, because it's a very weird profession, isn't it? In that usually you would have a department. So you have a department for finance, or a department for engineers, or a department for sales. But assistants don't have that. They're positioned horizontally across the business. So quite often you can be working all on your own and not understanding best practice. And I know that for you, Amanda, that this was particularly a reason why you were keen to join IMA and to start setting up India.
Exactly, Lucy. It all started actually at the Executive Secretary Live, the event in March where I attended in London. So that's where that was the very first conference that I've ever attended. And it was absolutely inspiring to see all the speakers there. And, there's such wealth of knowledge. And that's where I got introduced to IMA for the very first time. And then when you have the global event, Exec Global, that's when I heard Nina speak. And, it really hit home. This is something that I wish we had back in India. And then I remember we had that conversation, and you put me on to Nina, and it's just from there it took off. I'm like, this is my mission in life. This is my goal. Because exactly, we all work in silos. To have that community that support people who are from the same profession, who know the challenges you're going through and support you. And I've seen that through IMA, through my journey, through setting it up. I've had tremendous support from each one of the IMA family members. And it's heartening. And really, it shows that there are people out there who care and want you to succeed. And that's the same community feeling I want to bring back in India. That we are all one profession and we're here for each other. So that was the main reason for me to set up IMA India.
So, Amanda, you and Anna have stepped into leadership right from the beginning. But for the other two of you, for Ulla and for Janet, I'm going to start with Ulla. Talk to me about, were you dragged kicking and screaming into leadership, or did you decide to go for it yourself?
Well, I remember that Inge-Lise, the former chairman, she asked me or told me that you would fit perfectly into the board here. I'm sure you will be happy to work for IMA on the board. But then I said, well, yeah, I would like to be on the board, but then I will definitely go for the chairman. For the chairman position, because none of the other positions was for me. I thought, should I do it? I would go for the chairman. And she said, but that's perfect because I'm stepping down in a year. So I had my first year in 2016 with her on the board. And then from May 17, I became chairman. And fortunately, I was voted chairman. So I didn't have to just stay on the board for something else. Well, it's just that I had a lot of ideas actually, and that's why I wanted to be the chairman if I should go for it. And first of all, I wanted to establish or launch a new region within IMA. So Denmark is a small country, but we have these islands, and so it's very it's a good thing to have an East and a West IMA Denmark. And fortunately, we launched that last year. And well, unfortunately, it was in the middle of the pandemic now. So we are still expecting a lot from our new region.
And I have no doubt that you will get there.
Thank you, Lucy.
Now, what about you, Janet? Because, you have been a member of IMA for ever and ever and ever. And so now here you are running your country. What made you make that decision to step up into leadership?
Well, since 1993, I don't know how many years that is, around 30, I suppose. I've always been an active member and always took active roles in committees. I remember myself always admiring the work of the former chairs. And I think at the back of my mind, I always knew that one day I would take up the challenge and take a role in the executive committee. In 2017, although I was not ready to take up the position yet. It was a time when the then national chairman, she stepped down and there was no candidacy. So although, as I said, I wasn't ready, but with great support and encouragement from my peers, I finally took up the decision. And I took the big step. And since then, I'm the national chairman. I must say that I do not regret it. If I compare myself from the day that I took up the post till now, I see a great difference in myself. It has greatly helped me.
Mm. It's given you a lot of confidence.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Amongst other things, yes, great confidence as well.
But I think leadership is always difficult for assistants, isn't it? I think that assistants on the whole become assistants because they want to lead up rather than lead from the front. So stepping into a role where you are a country chair is obviously going to be something that initially anyway is going to be quite uncomfortable. Ulla, I want to talk to you about Denmark then for a moment, because I've been to train there several times. I love coming. I've been to IMA conferences there. And the thing that I'm always struck by in Denmark is the fact that there is an enormous amount of respect for the management assistants. If I ever talk about the global picture and how in some countries assistants can be not recognized properly and businesses don't treat them properly, I get to Denmark and you all look at me and go, not here. It's not that way here. So can you talk to me about what you think why you think it is so right and what it is that they feel about assistants in Denmark?
Yeah, well, thanks, Lucy. I think that first of all, it's because in Denmark historically we don't have this very firm hierarchy in our companies. It's very flat. And then secondly, I think it's because it's very normal that even though or no matter what kind of position you have in the company, you're always supported with all kinds of training that you need to keep developing yourself. Mm. So also that was why when I came to my boss and said, well, I've heard about IMA and there's a lot of personal and professional development in this, he said, go for it. Mm. And they have paid for also when I started on the board and the traveling, everything has been paid for. And another thing I know is that it's very common in modern companies today that management assistants are a part of the management team. So we take part in the meetings and the traveling and everything.
How wonderful. I mean, it really isn't that way in so many other countries. I think the lack of hierarchy, but also there are very strong employment laws, aren't there, in
yes. Working our work environment laws and they say that we need to that everybody should have access to training.
Yeah. And equality also, the way that women are treated in Denmark is very flat, isn't it?
Yes. And of course, we have a lot of these Me Too articles in all kinds of what do you say? In all kinds of industries, but they're cleaning up.
Yes.
Yeah, and more women are getting into the boards of the big companies, and yeah.
Is there parity yet in pay in Denmark? Is the pay the same for men and women?
Oh, we're getting there, they say, but it's still not the same. But I think compared to many other countries, it's rather close.
Yes, this is good news.
Yeah, at least.
Janet, talk to me about the differences then in the perception of the assistant in Denmark to how it's seen in Cyprus.
Well, okay. I think how countries perceive the profession depends on the culture of each country. So in Cyprus, like most of the countries in the past, there were just secretaries with the basic clerical duties. That's how I started. I mean, when I first started working, I was just the secretary there, basically sitting and waiting for something to be assigned to me, and something very, very basic. I mean, no major, role or something. So surely things have changed, and nowadays, I believe the profession in Cyprus does not differ much from other countries in Europe or. Sorry?
All the world?
All the world, yes. All the world. Although I don't know how everywhere is, but I suppose all the world. I have noticed that more and more students, they choose to study office administration. So they prepare themselves to meet the demands of working in modern business and companies. I see that in Cyprus, the companies look into recruiting management assistants. They're not looking for recruiting secretaries. Surely there are companies who just who have or look for hiring secretaries to perform basic duties. But overall, large organizations in Cyprus, they have management assistants, not secretaries. They form an integral part of the management team. They are there. They offer support to executive level, and they are respected. I believe, as in Denmark, they are respected. I don't see much difference because Cyprus is a European country. So I don't see much difference of the profession from other European countries.
Okay.
Maybe slight difference, but not something major.
Okay. Amanda, talk to us about the role of the assistant in India, because it is very different there, isn't it?
It is, Lucy. It is evolving, but not as much as we would like it to. The executive assistant is still doing tasks like managing the calendars and travel not so much now because of COVID. But I think in the past couple of months, I have noticed a bit of a shift because traveling and hotels and all that's not taking place. So there are other things that the assistants are asked to do, like project management or get involved in other departments. So the shift is taking place, but the thing is, executive assistants don't have the training they require to take on those roles. So I think that's when they need to either ask their executives saying that, pay for my training because it's investing, back into the business. So I think there's a lot of awareness that needs to come about. And that's one of the aims and goals of IMA India, to bring about that awareness. Because, during the pandemic and COVID, a lot of people have started going online, right, for all the information, looking for jobs. So there's a lot of awareness that we can bring about through social media, which is required at this point of time. And the more we talk about it and highlight the issues and solutions, assistants know where they can go and what their options are. Because only then they can pivot from being an assistant to a strategic partner, and how they can go about it. So,
Really, really interesting. And of course, you are a brand new association over there. And so for you, what is your mission? What are you hoping to achieve by launching over there?
The three main things, Lucy, is one, so that the assistants can upskill. So by getting training, they can learn and they can gain new skill sets. One is, the other is for the profession to be recognized, because in India, the profession is not as recognized as in other countries. So we want to bring about that awareness. But saying that, I also want to encourage the assistants to be more vocal. If you've gone through a training or done a training, put it out there, showcase it, LinkedIn, anywhere, any social media, so that not only the people from your profession can see it, people outside your profession can see what we are capable of. So these are the two main things: is to develop the profession, speak more, get more recognition for the community.
Wonderful. Anna, so you've heard the other three. How do you think Spain differs from that? Do you think it differs from that? And if so, why?
Well, I think that more or less, as Janet says, we are in Europe, and more or less in all countries, it's something similar. But it differs on, for example, Ula mentioned that they get support from their companies to attend IMA events. It's not the case in Spain. I mean, many of us pay from our own pockets the travels and trainings that we attend. And I think that this is still an unknown profession. I mean, they think that we just organize the agenda of the boss, but it's not just that. I mean, it's not a job; it's a profession. I mean, we need. I remember that when I started my career more than 25 years ago, they said one day assistants will disappear as a boss can use their computer, and so they won't need it. But we are still here, more than 25 years after. I think that we are the profession that more quickly changes. I mean, every change that comes, we adapt and we go over it, and we still are there. And we need to push and speak up to inform everyone. We are not just taking care of the agenda. We are doing lots of things more.
IMA is very strong in Spain, isn't it? You do a whole heap of events and support for your members.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wonderful. Good.
I have a very great team, I have to say.
Yes, you're everywhere.
Yes.
You're all over social media. I see all the time. So, but it's interesting because obviously for all of you, English is not your first language, and yet IMA chooses to train in English. Janet, I really wanted to ask you, do you think that there are benefits for training in English, and if so, why?
Yes, for sure, there are benefits. I mean, English is an international language and a global mean of communication. So by doing the trainings in English, we give the opportunity for everyone, especially now that they are held online. We give the opportunity for everyone around the globe to attend and benefit from them. And it's not only benefit from the trainings, but also it's an opportunity to hear about IMA. So we get heard all over the world. And also, after all, English is the official language of IMA. So I believe that it is important that especially trainings, both on national level and of course international, they are held in English. Other events nationally, they are held in the national language of each country. But when it comes to trainings, I believe it is important so that everybody can benefit, that these are held in English.
Okay. And then, Ula, what do you think are the main benefits of belonging to an international association?
Well, to pick up on what Janet just said, I think it's that you get to develop and practice your language skills, especially English, of course, but I speak a bit of French, so I can also speak a bit of French with my French peers. I like that, and then some of the very big benefits are being inspired and motivated by all these different peers from a lot of different countries. I always feel so inspired when I come home from an international event with IMA, because then I've talked to a lot of different peers and talked about the tasks that I've got on my table now, and they give me ideas, and I come back home and I feel like, whew, I can do a lot of new things.
I guess also, though, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, if I'm going to a different country, or I guess if your executive is going to a different country and you're trying to find a decent hotel, or you're trying to find a decent cab company, or somewhere safe or to stay, or maybe, you know, you're looking for a vegan restaurant in a city or whatever, to reach out to your network of peers across the world and to talk to them is surely better than just searching on Google.
It's a lot better, and it's a lot more fun. Also, sometimes it's in the bar, you know.
Yes, indeed. Well, we know all about that, but we won't talk about that now. I shall look forward to seeing you all in the bar at a later date.
Yeah.
Okay, Anna, so tell me, we mentioned COVID very briefly, but what are you seeing as the effects of COVID? Because Spain had a very, very strict lockdown, didn't they? You know, It must have caused all sorts of problems for the assistants that you're looking after. What do you think have been the main things to come out the other end of COVID?
Well, I have to say that COVID has reinforced our group, because as we mentioned before, I can remember that we are in a kind of isolated position, and sometimes due to your confidentiality, you cannot talk with your colleagues, and we have reinforced, we have a Slack group, and it has helped us to keep daily contact. Every time that somebody needed anything, just ask the group, I have this problem, has anyone the same? Can anyone give me a solution, a suggestion? And it has, I have to say that the group is now more, oh, I can't find the word in English. That's more. I feel that we are a really tight group, because we help each other, and we know that if you have something, you can ask, and anybody from the group can find a solution for you. And that's what COVID has helped us to make this group more tight.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Amanda, I want to ask you something about India, because I was quite taken aback when I went looking at stats on India to discover that still only 29.9%, so almost 30%, but nevertheless, of the total workforce is women. So that obviously has implications, I would have thought, for a profession which is 98% women, and particularly on work-life balance. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, Lucy, I think that's the case because in India, I mean, a lot of us lived in joint families where either, you know, we live with our in-laws or we live with our parents. So I think there's a lot of responsibility on the women, as in they have to go back and they have to see to their children, or they have to cook and see to their in-laws or elderly parents. So I think that's why either some of them give up their profession and prefer to be at home rather than, you know, have a professional life. So hence, I think that's the main reason why the balance, because being an executive assistant can get trying. You can have really long hours, and not everybody understands that, right? Back in India, because they don't know what an executive assistant does. So kind of, you know, eyebrows are raised, like, why such long hours? So I think that, and then even the parents or the in-laws don't quite understand the role. They don't understand the implications or how important it is. And I think then there's a pressure put on them. So I think that's the biggest contribution of why, like, you know, it would, the balance would be a bit off. So,
yeah, I think also, though, is it not the case that the culture is very much to be a devoted wife or a devoted mother? So it must be very hard to push back either at work or at home.
And also the other thing is we don't like to say no. So we just take on. I mean, you know, we don't like to say no either at work or at home. So, you know, trying to juggle both can get very difficult. And finding that work-life balance, because if like, I know for the longest time, I mean, before I have a 4-year-old daughter now, but before I had my baby, I mean, all my free time was revolved around working. So whether it was during the week or weekends, I mean, it kept me occupied, so I didn't mind. But then afterwards, trying to juggle both was very difficult. And fortunately, I do have a really understanding executive, as well as, amazing support system at home. But not everybody has that, so they have to choose either or. So it becomes tough.
Amanda, I know you haven't been with IMA very long, but what's the most important thing that you've learned so far from being part of this network?
I think the two very important things that have stuck out for me, one was collaboration. How people collaborate with each other, how countries collaborate with each other. And the other thing is the willingness for, each individual to help the other selflessly and not expect anything in return. So these two are like such key, important, things that I found through my experience with IMA, though it's been a short while, but they've really stood out. And so I think that's the two main things for me.
Thank you, Amanda. Well, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say that the most important things that I have learned are to be proactive, even more proactive, and stay on top of everything and be tech savvy, and embrace change, embrace changes. I think I have always been able to that somehow, but even more, the importance of these things have, they're very, very important for me.
And Janet?
I would say that it's to be proud of my profession, to believe in myself, and never stop developing both professionally and personally. Being part of IMA has had and still has many benefits on me. I mean, for example, team working, that it also makes me grow as an individual. It has helped me feel more confident, not afraid to speak up or express an opinion. The networking, and as Amanda said, the collaboration. I mean, it's amazing how so many professionals from so many countries come together, and they speak up for the profession, how they network with each other, they create opportunities, they create friendships. Above all, so many friendships that have been formed throughout all these years with amongst the members. It's really amazing. I think each and every one is doing an amazing job, which is giving the final picture of what IMA is and what it stands for.
This is so wonderful. And what about you, Anna?
Well, I have to say that it's amazing, the commitment of everyone, taking into account that this is we are all volunteers. I mean, we work, we have our families, and in top of that, we also have this commitment with the profession, with our colleagues. I mean, it's really nice, the teamwork that we have with all the countries, and also inside your teams. For example, when someone is really busy at work, another member of the board, takes up and continues with everything. And I think that this commitment that all of us as volunteers, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, our love for the profession, because we do this because we love what we do.
Yes, and I see that at first hand. I think it's really a fabulous thing to behold when you are part of that. The first event I ever went to, as I said, was in Luxembourg. I was really nervous. By the time I left 3 days later, I felt I had a whole new family. I was seeing everybody on the street. Say goodbye to all the new friends. It was wonderful. So talking about events then, just very briefly, can each of you tell me about something that's happening in your country that's coming up in the next few months? Janet, let's start with you.
Okay, well, we have some exciting events coming up in Cyprus. In March, on March 20th, we're having our training day. We have already announced it. It's on the subject of sustainability as a driver for positive change. We have 3 renowned trainers from Cyprus. They will speak on the subject of sustainability, a new bus or a tool for operational excellence, the positive impact of stress, and building resilience, develop the ability to bounce back from adversity. We shall also have Heather Baker with us. I'm sure you know. Yes. And Heather will speak to us on the art of communication. We are very excited and we are really looking forward to it. All of the information can be found on our website and in the social media. You are all invited to attend. Lucy, it will be a pleasure to have you if you can attend. And also in March, during the week of administrative professionals, we are organizing an event on that occasion. We still have not announced the details. Again, we shall be hosting an executive assistant and a founder of a platform for assistants. Maybe you suspect who that is, but in any case, we shall announce the name in due course.
Wonderful. That all sounds absolutely fantastic. And of course, we shall share the details in the chat box so that people can get in touch with you if they're interested in attending. Ulla, what's Denmark up to?
Well, in line with the overall theme of IMA International, we have next week on Thursday, 11th March, we have the Danish Plastics Federation talking about sustainability, recyclability, and their design guideline, and also they will tell us about their new what do you call it? Their new campaign, realistic about plastic, and we look forward to hearing about that. Because I know them because I'm in the plastics industry, so I asked them to do this, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And it seems a success already. So, but I hope that maybe some more will attend.
Plastics is fascinating. I used to run a magazine for plastics. I used to run European Plastics News. I was publisher of that.
Oh, really? I know that.
And I went into that thinking, but actually, absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I look forward to to hearing about the campaign realistic about plastic. I think it would be an eye opener maybe for some. Yeah. Also, I would like to say that on 25th March we have our monthly virtual cocktail bar networking, which has become a success. It's the 3rd time we launched it in January, and at this cocktail bar meeting everybody can say if they have something on their tables, some tasks that they would like to discuss, and what you do about this and that in these COVID times, and how will the future office look like. And we're discussing a lot of things, also well-being at work, and all the new people get to introduce themselves. And for the next time, I will bring one of our business members to introduce himself, and it's just for an hour approximately, but it's really good.
But as you've all said, networking is so important as part of IMA, and it's wonderful to see that, yes, we have got the training still happening.
Yeah. We are still here.
But you're also doing the networking part, which is hugely important.
Yeah.
Now, Amanda, I know you've got your launch that will have happened on the 6th of March. What are you planning moving forwards?
Lucy, because we're very new, so the launch is the biggest thing on the 6th of March. And the next event we plan to have it sometime in April, where we're hoping to welcome all the new members that join IMA, take them through, what is in it for them and all the benefits. And then we'll plan it from there.
Yes.
We do have a couple of trainings coming up after that, but these are the main two events for March and April.
And what about Spain, Anna? You're my new home.
Yes. We are so happy to have you there. In Spain, we have 3 to 4 events every month. Together with the global events, we have IMA. Each month we have a virtual event, and for Spain we are now taking some sessions on Microsoft 365, because it's really important. Our members, we always ask our members what are their needs, and we have some sessions especially dedicated to Microsoft. Then we have also our IMA forum, where members we choose a subject, and then all members can talk about it, and it's also a networking event. I mean, it's the way to have let's say an informal chat, because we also need this kind of meetings just to chat and put together different things. And we will also have our AGM at the end of May, so we are always busy. This time, of course, all the events will be virtual, although that we hope that the sooner the better, that we can meet again personally.
Of course. And of course, all the other countries have their own events as well. And so if they visit the IMA website, which we will put into the chat box, then they're going to be able to see what each of their countries might be doing currently. But then, of course, you also have the international events. And I know that you do a training day in spring every year, and you do a conference in the autumn every year. And so are both of those virtual this year?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no physical events this year. Yes.
No physical events this year. But next year, all things being equal, where are we in the spring and where are we in the autumn?
We'll be in Oslo in the spring, right? And in the autumn, we will go to Helsinki to celebrate their 40th anniversary, I think. Oh.
Fantastic. I very much hope to see you all there. And so then, Anna, if any of the delegates is interested in finding out more about what IMA is up to, or in looking at where they might be able to join, what's the best place for them to go?
The best place is to go to the global website, because there you can click on each country and then look for the national contacts, and of course any of us or any of our team members can explain any doubts or expand any kind of information, and also following us on social media. I mean, we have social media for the global one, but also each country has its own global media links. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, ladies, thank you all so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have this conversation with you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know the audience will enjoy it immensely. So much useful information. But enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.